Good day to the citizens of this world. Anonymous TV is reporting today on Nodapl. The Standing Rock protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline, #Nodapl, happening at the Sacred Stone Camp near Cannonball, North Dakota, have been in and out of news feeds on Facebook for months, but they made headlines again as things took a violent turn this past weekend. Law enforcement officials used aggressive force on several hundred unarmed protesters, firing rubber bullets, tear gas, and water cannons in sub-freezing weather Sunday night. The Standing Rock Medic and Healer Council released a statement saying they had treated 300 injuries, and that ambulances had transported 26 people to local hospitals. Anonymous has been working to raise awareness about what's been happening at the Standing Rock protest site. Here are 11 things you need to know about the protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline. 1. People are rejecting the pipeline because they say it potentially threatens Native communities' drinking water supply and disturbs sacred areas. 2. The water protectors' direct actions are peaceful. Despite an increasingly violent response by police, the water protectors say they have and intend to remain unarmed and non-violent. According to its website, the Sacred Stone Camp is a peaceful, prayerful camp, so firearms and weapons are strictly forbidden, as are alcohol and drugs. 3. This week's high-profile intervention was not the first time unarmed protesters have encountered police violence. 4. Native people from tribes across North America are coming together in solidarity. And it's not just Native people coming together, people from all over the world have come to stand in solidarity with #Nodapl protesters. Part of the reason for the strong solidarity among Native tribes across the country is because the dispute over the pipeline is part of a long-standing fight to have the sovereignty of their nations respected by the U.S. government. To Anonymous, this is really about the fundamental connection between us as Native peoples and our homelands. So for the community of Standing Rock and all the other Lakota Sioux communities, these lands that the pipeline is cutting through right now are their homeland from time immemorial. The land right now that the pipeline is building through on the river crossing has documented burial sites, has documented sacred sites, and so it's just a blatant disregard for that connection to the land and that connection to place and space. 5. Winter is a huge concern. 6. Wellness teepees are helping campers deal with their mental and physical stress. 7. This is not a Burning Man vibe. Vision Quest vacationers are discouraged. 8. Celebrity involvement is ... complicated. Divergent actress Shailene Woodley brought a lot of attention to the movement when she was arrested for protesting last month. Celebrities speaking for the movement can be a double-edged sword. You want the attention, but I feel like sometimes the attention goes to the wrong people and doesn't get the right message out when you're just talking to celebrities and not talking to folks who are on the ground actually doing the work in the space day in and day out. 9. President-elect Donald Trump has financial ties with a company leading construction. After reviewing Trump's financial disclosure forms, The Guardian reported last month that the president-elect has close financial ties to Energy Transfer Partners, the company building the Dakota Access Pipeline. Records also show that Energy Transfer Partners CEO Kelsey Warren donated $103,000 to Trump's campaign, $3,000 to his presidential campaign and another $100,000 to the Trump Victory Fund. Anonymous would also reminded us that in the 90s, Trump questioned the authenticity of Native Americans competing with his casinos in Connecticut, saying, "They don't look like Indians to me." 10. Nixon was surprisingly helpful on Native issues. Anonymous notes that President Richard Nixon made policy changes that benefited Native Americans, noting on her blog that he was a big supporter of self-determination for Natives, ended the termination policies of the previous administrations, and his administration ushered in a new era in federal Indian policy that was largely good for Natives. However, she also says it's more complicated than that. noting that Nixon was responsible for the large military response to the Wounded Knee siege and overall was not a fan of the American Indian movement and was responsible for the heavy surveillance and monitoring of folks involved in AIM. 10. But Obama ... not so much. Despite or perhaps because of President Barack Obama's heartwarming and historic visit to Indian country in 2014, many Native people feel all the more let down by Obama's long silence on the Dakota Access Pipeline. People are extremely disappointed in him right now. He was the first person to visit actual reservations while he was a sitting president, and he only visited a couple, and one of them was Standing Rock. So the irony of that is that he sat at the powwow, he took pictures with babies, he met the elders, he got to know people in the community, and now as those same people are being maced, and being pepper sprayed, and being shot with rubber bullets and as their graves have been dug up, he has been largely silent. Sincerely yours, the Sanitation Man. We are the truth that's hiding in the dark. We are the last stand for humanity. We are your neighbors. We are humanity. We are a legion. And we are now. Expect us.
Forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Sincerely yours, the Sanitation Man. Expect
Special
us.
shout-outs in Ohio. Inspect. Operation Second. And the Anonymous Collective.
And I have to start again. Just my children and my wife. I thank my life.